Okay, let's go to my one-year business plan. So it's going to ask you what your taxable income was, what your units were, and what your staff looks like, and what your business expenses look like. Couple things. If you don't know where you get this information, a lot of agents don't know their numbers. You can get it a couple places. Shannon, you can get it from HomeSnap, right?
That's
I
right.
love HomeSnap.
Okay,
Yeah,
everybody
I love
loves
you, Shannon.
Home.
That was awesome.
Everybody loves HomeSnap. If you're an EXP agent, you can go into Enterprise and download their information from your profile. You can also get it from MetroList by searching standard, all property types with your MLS ID. So, between all of those things, you should know what your GCI looked like. So go ahead and pop it in there. Current business, taxable income for 2020 so far, or anticipated, before the new year. What's that going to look like? Okay. Next, my current units are blank for the year. Go ahead and pop that number in there. What are your current units? Again, HomeSnap, Enterprise, or MLS if you don't know. But you should probably have a good ballpark figure of what your units look like. Staff members. Your TC would count as an independent contractor as a staff member. So if you have a TC, they really function as a realtor partner for you.
And for Tess, you have an extra one in me. I'm your staff member.
Huh?
But she worked for free, so that's a challenge.
Right. Yeah, you'd like-
But seriously, can I get some playtime?
Derek, come out and play.
Current monthly expenses for your business are blank, whatever it is. You got a TC, you got an assistant, you got marketing expenses, you got signs that need to go up, you've got websites, you've got CRMs, you've got Facebook ads, all those things. About how much? Anybody know what the average expense looks like for a team? If you don't, go back to those pages that I shared with you earlier, because they'll tell you based on your volume what your anticipated expenses should look like. It's important that you know based on your volume, going back and referencing those, if you're overspending based on your competition or underspending, underfunding your business. So we always talk about in real estate, and as you guys are growing your teams and organizations, you can also have this conversation with those people. A commission check isn't a paycheck, it's a revenue check. It must be deposited in a business account, and then we take our expenses from that. We then have what's and taxes, and then we have what's left over, and that's our revenue, truly our revenue. Okay, so this is important. My expenses, but I would say for an average team of doing 10 to 15 to $20 million of volume, average expense is going to range between $4,000 to $8,000 a month, depending if you have an assistant and office space, that kind of stuff. Talking about office space, Tom and I just signed a lease. We're going to be out of here on December 1st. New office will be a branch office over by the Fairways, or I'm sorry, on Fairway Drive by Strikes. Yeah.
There's 9 fairways too.
Bring your putting. Bring your putters.
There's a
Well, the putters.
9-hole putting green.
It really is?
On
Yeah.
the strike side or across the street?
We're on the strike side.
Like
It's
next
that-
door. It's next door.
Yeah. And then
It's in
Brent,
between like West Oak or whatever
Brent
boulevard.
put an offer in on a property on Reserve Drive. Really cool property. It's like 10,000 square feet, modern, glass everywhere, kind of like your Google campus almost look. And so that probably be open within the next 60 to 90 days, and that'll be available for everybody. Huge. There's not going to be many personal offices at all in there, but there will be a lot of open space, different areas. There'll be a stage. It's a really cool spot. So you guys will be hanging out there.
In yours and Dave's office, there are open offices, and what's rent for that? And are you doing
Just
that?
calculate about $1.70 a square foot. I mean, that's what we're paying.
Okay.
Plus, we're paying, utility. We're not passing along the utility costs and the copy machine, lease costs and cleaning costs. So we'll just go with the straight $1.70 a foot. So.
And then how many, are there open offices? How many open offices? Do you know?
We'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk.
Do that offline. Just kidding.
We'll do that.
I know, I guess so.
We'll do that offline. So here's the number 5. My sources of business are, what are they? Where are they coming from right now? This is why it's important that you do fill this out on your lead tracker and you kind of know where they're at. But here, as you're building your business, and we go back to talking about that accounts pyramid, if you have 1 to 3 sources of business, you're going to have an okay business. Just okay. If you have 6 to, well, let's just go 4 to 6, you'll have a good business. 7, 8, 9, you'll have a great business. If you have more than 9 sources of leads that are coming in, you'll have a really great business, almost empire building. And so you think about that. What are sources of business? Farming, social media, open houses,
Business to business, referral
database,
agents,
business to
rental,
business, corporate accounts,
farming,
all of those things.
circle prospecting.
But you really have to identify what these 3 sources of business are, and Derek's going to talk about later if you want to do a 1, 3, 5 on them, which is what's my one source, what are 3 strategies to get to, to make sure I'm successful in that, and then under each one of those 3, what are 5 tactics I can do?
Yeah.
Okay? But
And then for
Go
the
ahead.
for the percentage, I would track by units, right, on the next one, right? Because
Yeah.
units are a little more predictable than volume.
very much so. Yep.
And if you guys want a tracking form, email me. I got one that breaks it down for you. It's got like a pie chart and stuff. It's cool.
Nerd alert.
Okay, so fill those out, and then would somebody be willing to share a couple of those? So for me, our biggest sources of business are referral, agent to agent, and then we have a couple of referral, meaning agent to agent referral, and next kind of referral is database referral, and then I have a couple of accounts that send me between 5 to 10 listings a year, channel accounts. What do you guys have? What are your sources of business right now?
19% business to business, 28.6% referral agents, and 52.4% sphere of influence.
Perfect.
And then we're implementing the relocation. We're working on that currently with a couple companies, and the same thing with builders. But the thing came from that this year. That was our big focus, was getting it for next year.
Awesome.
Yeah, my big one's referrals, and then my next one's business to business.
Okay.
You also get your builder account though too, right? That probably it's pretty big now. Not yet.
It's a few units, but not big enough.
Well, one of the things that, it's not in here, but one of the things that we really should be thinking about next year is each listing that you have is an opportunity to what? Pick up buyers. And so a lot of you focus right now on the marketing efforts that it takes just to sell the house. But really what another angle to that is, how are you using that retail product to attract more buyers, trap the buyers, and take that listing and add a closed buyer transaction to it. So if you had 12 listings last year and you're able to implement something to trap more buyers, that will take your 12 and turn it to 24. We can talk specific strategy on that later, but think about that opportunity. Okay, so what's your biggest weakness right now? Number 6. And I would say, Derek, what do you think the biggest weakness is? Typically for an
For
agent.
Tess, it's her business partner.
Oh, you got you.
Addition by subtraction.
Time management,
Leverage. For me, it's leverage.
leverage.
Leverage and time, because leverage is going to give you the time that you need, right?
Yep. Time management, leverage, organization for some of us.
Scheduling, for sure, just
Scheduling.
blocking it off, time blocking.
Motivation. Okay, then we're going to do a simple transactional related calculation. We're going to take what your approximate net income is and divide that by your units. And that's going to give you your income per unit.
It says net income, but then if you're dividing your income by units, that's going to be your gross income, right? Because it has to be, because it's a taxable income, right? The top one is taxable income, and then that one says net
Yeah.
income per
I think it
unit.
means the other kind of net, like after you paid your broker kind of net,
Oh, gotcha, okay.
you know what I mean? Which
That
is
makes
gross.
Still should be gross income, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know.
I'm just gonna cross out net and put down gross.
Hey, you do what you want. It's your world, buddy.
I'm just living in it.
Your paper.
Yo world, bro. Okay, then we're gonna pump in your yearly savings was X amount of dollars and was a percent and was what percent of your income. So now we should, by the time you have got to number 8, we should know what our taxable gross or net was, how many units we did, what our staff looks like, what our estimated business expenses look like, what our sources of business are, what our biggest weakness is. Anybody want to share their biggest weakness?
Mine's organization and systems.
Okay.
Sounds like you need a coach.
Mine too. Most salespeople are the same way.
I blocked you.
Most drivers and influencers, when we look on the disc profile, are that way.
I blocked you.
So we have to get somebody like Chrissy who makes us not suck.
Yay, Chrissy.
Yay, Chrissy. Go, Chrissy.
I have found time blocking to be quite difficult during COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey Chrissy, are you looking for a new employer? Just kidding.
I hate children's sports. I tell you what, this is coming from a mama that homeschooled for 18 freaking years. Like, children's sports kill your life. Just so you know.
But they'll give you more
Yeah,
business.
but that's
They
an
do
opportunity,
too.
that's an
I
opportunity
find
for
I
more
actually
business.
get- Yeah,
Business
lots of
Yeah,
business.
sponsor the team shirts. Put it in
Yes,
the-
exactly.
Yes. That's a lot of
All right, current hours, number 9. How many current hours are you working each week?
Oh, God.
Oh, we're supposed to work.
Anybody working 50 plus?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like,
You know, when you love what you do, Sean, it's never work.
Passion, baby, passion.
Stick with me to write this stuff.
I just don't even.
And then do you know what your average sales price was? All of these can be found for you EXP agents right in Enterprise. It actually does a nice job of breaking some of these down.
I'm gonna check that out.
And for 3 easy payments of $99.99, I'll get you that form.
But wait.
But wait, there's more. You get a free set of Genko knives if you act out.
made out to
Dylan,
Derek.
you're offering to do 6 of those for us.
All right, 2021, let's move into it. What are you projecting your taxable income will be in 2021?
It's fun how creative you are. So that whole taxable income
Is
is
this
a little
only
bit
for
negative.
your real estate business sales, or is this all of your income?
This is just for, yeah, this,
Okay,
this
just making
is,
sure everyone's on the
this
same
is
page.
specifically for sales or team stuff.
Real estate only.
Yeah. And then you're gonna take that number that you had on, number
97?
7 above, divide that, and that'll tell you how many units you're gonna need to do. Isn't this form a lot easier than the one in Business Planning Clinic? Everybody always gets all jacked up.
Square root of this.
Yeah. So taxable income, anybody got a big ass hairy GCI number that they want to share?
I'm doing 250.
Okay,
252.
250 is good. Cool. Number 3, how many staff members are you going to need?
Does that include the current ones you already have, if you have one, or no? We need to add on.
Oh, yeah, does that count TCs or is that just like assistants?
Well, it's going to be, it says here, for every, what does it say? Real estate agent should add 1 staff member for 3 sites. So depending
That's a lot
upon
of
how
staff
your,
members.
huh?
That's a lot of staff members.
Yeah.
What am I doing to make
3
this money?
slabs.
How many staff members do you have?
3 sides, well, I have Chrissy and then a TC. TC is independent contractor. I like that ability because I don't have to carry the overhead. It will be, but I'm thinking about changing that because I don't feel like our customer service experience this year was great. I felt like I was in the middle of a tornado, and I'm gonna go, like we talked about, going back and getting more of a relationship-based business. I would love to, like if I looked at it and I said, what would a great client experience be? In escrow, they get a call from somebody on the team every day. They get a daily update from us. Here's what's happening with the lender, with this, with that, and the other. I think that would really be impactful for their experience and referrals at the end of that. So I might think about changing that. I mean, if you think about, I don't know, we're closing at least 5 a month. So 5 times $400 is what, 24 or $2,000? I'm paying an outside TC. I could probably internalize it for a little bit cheaper and have a better experience. So I'm thinking about reworking that. And then we have leverage too. Like we just signed up with Michael Lewis Marketing Suite. Chrissy was doing a lot of that internal brochure making and postcard making and flyer and all that stuff. We've outsourced that now, and instead of having to pay her, for her hours of work, we're paying $125 per listing. Now she's able to do other things. So I think it's important where you can to outsource, and then sometimes you reevaluate and go, okay, well, what's really our goal? My goal is to, at the end of the day, it's to make money, right? But outside of that, I feel like I need to have a great experience for my clients in 2021. If that's the mission statement, right? The mission is to change people's lives, to be impactful, to be influenced, to help them build wealth. Then I really got to focus on what that looks like for them. And though I think we didn't give a bad experience, I don't think we created raving fans either.
That being said, do you agree with one staff member for 3 sites?
I think that's probably, that's 36, that's 3 a month. So I think if you're doing 3 a month and you have a TC and you have an assistant, even a part-time assistant.
Ask me for a month, because that's what I was doing Matt.
Oh, yeah, it's per month.
That's like
Yeah.
Sean doesn't have to teach.
10 staff members.
That's
No,
what I
it's
was
per
saying, it
month.
makes sense.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
That's what the way
it's 3 per month.
Right.
Guys.
Yeah, 3 per month.
3 per month.
Per month?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 per month. Not 3 per year. You better be your own assistant at 3 per year.
Yeah.
And then estimate what your business expenses will be. And then here's your chance to add some new sources of business.
Hey, Sean, on your business expenses per year, how would you figure that out if you really don't know where it's all coming from?
It's 28% of your income, right? 28%? I think it's 28%.
It depends on the volume. What kind of volume?
6 deals.
Yeah, maybe about that.
So 60, let's just say 6 million.
Yeah, 10 million.
So they have,
29.2 is what it.
that's about right.
29.2, yeah.
It's about 30%, so 6 million, depending upon your price point, or 6 million, what is it? 28% would be a third.
The big focus though is you got to lead with the revenue, right? You need
Yeah.
to have 6 months. If you're going to hire an admin, you need to have 6 months of their salary built into it. Because what happens if you get sick or something? You're not working anymore, right? You got to also think about someone else's family at that time.
Well, here's the other part about that I'll mention to you. These agents have spent historically a lot of money on outbound marketing. Do you think outbound marketing works better now than it did when the MRA was written, 20 years ago? Probably not. If anything, marketing is going away.
Yeah.
And we're getting more into a referral relationship basis, or we're getting social media hit or target analysis. So I think what I'm getting at, what I'm driving at is if you go out and you focus really on building more of a database and relationships, your cost of sales out will actually go down because you're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars on hoping. For me, marketing is hoping. I
Right.
send out
It's-
500 postcards.
it's passive
and I
versus
hope,
active, right?
Right. And I hope that somebody calls me. Whereas prospecting is much more.
Yeah.
Much more.
And then the thought process would be also, though, it's like you have relationships, and we're in a relationships business, right? But if you have no systems, that's a problem, right? If you only have systems and no relationships, that's a problem. So you want to merge those together, and that's why we're sitting here today, right?
Yep.
And then if you don't have a system, you probably know someone that has a really good system for something. Sean's got great systems, right? And he posts them on our groups. But if you need a specific system, talk to us, and if we don't have it, we'll have someone that does have it that you guys can utilize. Don't reinvent the wheel. But you have to be able to merge those together. And the biggest thing like you're talking is either being like phone to phone or belly to belly talking to people. That's the biggest thing you can be doing right now. And there's not a lot of a cost involved when you do
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
I agree that the relationship is the key. Marketing's now impressions. So impressions are really nice, but likes don't create buys.
Right.
Likes create relationship. That's it. So it's impressions, and it's nice, but you don't look for there's certain things you do right now just to be in front of people, top of mind, not because they're actually going to buy something from you immediately or because of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you want to have stellar marketing because that's your street credibility. Somebody looks you up, or that you have a sexy, brochure or marketing binder or whatever. But ultimately, your relationship will always trump somebody else's sexy brochure. And most of the time, your relationship will also trump their production. Okay? That's why the relationship is so important.
Well, at the end of the day, they want to work with someone they connect with.
That's it.
Whether you're the smartest person or not.
That's it. And I see a lot of it, and the only reason I mention this is because, many of you want to grow organizations and you're bringing new people in. Some of you are new to the industry. It's, shit, I just went blank. I had something very important I was going to
A
say.
lot of the people, I don't know if this is where you're going, but a lot of the people that are doing a lot of transactions are not that profitable, right? So that's why this part of the section is super important, is figuring out where your expenses are going to be, right, and how do we cut those, right? So as we go into a changing market too, that's what we should be focusing right now. We don't know exactly what's going to happen next year, but things could change, right? And so right now you should be really holding your dollars accountable, right? Like if your expenses are $10,000, how do we get them down to 8, 7, 6, right? That's the big focus right now, because you got to be holding accountable. If you go here and you look at your sources of income and you're paying, if you're paying $2,000 a month or whatever on internet leads, and you only have 7% of your income coming from that, why are you paying $2,000 a month for internet leads? Either one, you're not converting, or two, it's not the right type of lead, right? So let's cut that out and put that money into, if it's Sphere of Influence, why don't we throw a party for every quarter for our first Sphere of Influence? So that's 50% of my business.
Right.
You think you're gonna get some more deals out of it? What's that?
Only 5 people allowed.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right, yes.
But that's exactly why.
Kill a turkey.
And for 2 hours, just to let everybody know, we are 6 feet apart.
Yeah, we are.
Everybody in the room is.
Julian?
What I was saying though is a lot of new agents get into the business and they're like, oh, what's my website look like? And I need an awesome logo, and it has to be perfect before they'll launch it. And the reality of it is that has nothing to do with your success in real estate. It's like, go out there, build relationships, become a media company, become an influencing company, a persuasion company, a video company. That's where we're heading.
Yeah, become
Right?
Apple, right?
I mean, in fact, there's more money spent on Google AdWords and now YouTube videos than there is in the entire advertising world of television. So you've got to think about being transformative in your business and the way that you do it to accommodate. Yeah, Rich.
The other thing too is find out what you really love to do. I mean, you
Right.
look at Shannon. She loves sports. She loves the kids' team. She loves all that kind of stuff. And the thing is, this is like, it just, they tell you the smile will come through a phone. Your passion comes through everything you do. When they see it on Facebook, when they see it in LinkedIn, whatever, man, they just go, I like that because you like what you're doing.
Right.
And so if it's doing, like Marguerite does a great job throwing frickin' parties.
Yes.
I mean, oh my God. I mean, it's like, who knew that, being spirit-filled would be like so much profitable?
Well, everybody has their niche. I mean, Tom's got vendors that help him pay for radio, and he gets a bunch of deals off the radio. So to your point, you're exactly it. When you're talking about new sources of business, what do you like to do? What are you passionate about? Hell, if you like playing golf, go join the country club. You'll get deals from the country club, right? You like?
Should I join
Huh?
Canada?
Oh, Tess, Derek needs to join.
A country club.
Northridge.
I'm sorry.
Northridge.
Already can
Not
count.
Canada.
We already have that.
He's gotta do it
Okay,
differently.
need to join
We
Granite
already
Bay.
think he's a member, okay? We're
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
I know, right? Go do it.
So let's finish number 5. What are those new sources of business going to be? What are you passionate about?
Just one thing on that too. So if you only have, let's say, 2 pieces of or 2 sources of business, you need to at least 2 this next year, right? Because think about sitting on a stool. If you have a stool, right, and you have 2 legs on it, you knock one off. It's gonna be real hard to balance, right? So think about that, like he was talking about earlier. If Zillow goes away and you have a bunch of business going from Zillow, where is it going to be, right? You want to be able to balance on 3 or 4 legs, right? If you have, does that make sense? Like you got to diversify where your business is coming from, just like your investments.
Okay. Number 6, what are we going to improve on? What you focus on, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Expand.
Expands.
We're always trying to get our net income per transaction up. Number 7. And our goal is to save 20% of our taxable income based on our need to retire.
Andre, thanks for the business card. Just found it. It was in my binder.
Oh, really?
Did you put it there or no?
It was on the ground, so I
Oh,
picked it up.
I'd put it in my binder. Oh, I thought you put it in my binder.
Put it in everyone's binder, you said.
Well placed, right there, huh?
Oh, you didn't get the rest of it.
Yeah, right. They're just falling around like breadcrumbs. Hansel and Gretel following you around, so we know where you're at.
All right, my hours will be in the number 10. Finally, my new sales price is going to be what? Some of you guys need to think about where you want to break in and start planting that seed, right? I want to do in the luxury market. Well, what are you doing in those realms? Are you volunteering? Are you joining the country club? Have you started a local networking group? Who are the main players in that area that are doing business there? Where have you farmed? And then many of you may go, hey, I want to work with investors coming up because I think the market might crash. Okay, well, how are you going to get those investors? Who are you going to cold call? Who's doing the most flips right now in town? What company is that? You know, it's Blackwater. A couple people years ago got huge Blackwater accounts, and they made a grip of money. So think about what those sources might look like, what you want to accomplish in your real estate career, where you would be passionate about, and then go after it as part of this business plan.
And I would say too, if you're newer, who is someone maybe that you could partner up with that wants to slowly dip away from the business, right? And you can pay them a referral fee that starts at a certain percent and tiers down as the years go on, right? There's
Correct.
some very successful agents that want to figure out a retirement plan and probably do not have one, like we were talking about earlier. That could be an opportunity for you to acquire some business, right?
Definitely. Okay, so just like to hear X amount of units for X amount of GCI out there.
40 units, 360,000.
40 units, 360.
I said 50 for 380.
I love it.
24 for 180.
25, 250?
We're taking market share,
I
guys.
think get 20 for 285.
That's
Based
what
on
I hear.
is that based on your sales
I
price?
hear we're taking market
Mine's
share. That's
mine's
the goal.
486,
Oh, okay.
595.
Yeah.
Is Brent ready?
En route.
He's en route. Okay, so let's go to the next page. Property Partner Power Hour. So here's an example of how you could plan out your week. Daily, we're filling out our 55111. We're filling out our lead tracker. We're creating warm CCRs, current client referrals, friends, past clients. We're developing relationships with builders. We've got our ads going out on. We've got our number of appointments set the day before. So here's the way you should think about it. Today is what, Thursday? Who are you meeting with next Thursday? Who's already in your calendar to meet with face-to-face or on Zoom?
Family? It's Thanksgiving.
Well, okay, yeah.
Sorry.
You're right.
So 2 Thursdays from now. 2 Thursdays from now.
Not next Thursday, but you get what I'm saying. Inevitably, I come to work on Monday. Who am I meeting with next Monday? It gives you plenty of time to meet with them. And plus, if you've taken my B2B class, there's a system for the things that you should be doing over those 6 or 7 days to increase the conversion when you actually go and sit down with them, right? So it starts with who? People who are generating revenue for us, buyers or sellers. Then it goes to referral partners. Then it goes to people in our database. Then it goes to outside people that we can meet with. But again, I want to reiterate this because for some of you, the light bulb needs to go off. Just because you don't have pre-planned somebody to meet with doesn't let you off the hook from meeting face-to-face. When you continuously meet face-to-face with people, a lot of things happen. Your conversations get better. You pick up on their body language. You pick up on trying to read what kind of disc person profile they are. Your calendar is set. You're systematized. You're having more conversations. If you have more conversation, you have more face-to-face. People, guess what? People like you better. People are more apt to refer you. So you have to have those face-to-face appointments each week. Non-negotiable, right? Okay. Next, then we've got our VIP call list. This would be your top 50 that we were talking about in the accounts pyramid, or top 10 or top 25. Who are the top 10 to 25 people in the world that would refer you business right now? That if somebody had a gun to your head, you would call Rob and say, Rob, I need a listing today. Who do you know? Who can you work in your sphere to get me that listing? That's the goal of the VIP list. Each one of those VIPs should be good for at least one deal a year for you. So if you have a 10 or 25, we're talking about top 50, but if you had 25 people and you're routinely calling them and you know when their birthdays are, when their anniversaries are, and what they're doing on the weekend, and you're going out to dinner with them, and you're truly creating this relationship with them, they will send you business. and they like to. Okay?
What system can you use to find out their birthday and their anniversaries?
Facebook.
Facebook, baby.
There you go.
And actually, KV Core has a new
Yeah, they do.
thing
They
that you can
integrate.
use for birthdays.
They pay you to stalk people now. It's cool.
Yeah, they're selling
That's
that
why I'm
damn
so good
data.
at
I
it.
know they are. They're selling that data. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be daily, and then we come in and we go Tuesday, okay, we're gonna check on everybody's hot client list. This is what I call the lead tracker. So routinely on Tuesdays, that's the theme day to call all the past leads. You know, I told you in my binder, I've got 3 years of leads. I can go down there and say, hey man, I haven't talked to you in 6 months, what's going on? Are you closer to buying? Are you closer to selling? Here's what's happening in the market. Here's what's happening in rates over the past 6 months. Here's what's happened in your neighborhood. You have to give them something of value to move them along the sales cycle chain. On a scale of 1 to 10, you know, you want to buy right now. Where are you at? I'm a 5. Okay, how do I get to a 6? Do I need to give you the million real estate investor? Do I need to have a face-to-face meeting with you? Do I need to send you market updates? I got to get you to a 6. Then next month, I got to get you to a 7. And eventually that pipeline comes to fruition when you call them on a Tuesday and then they go, okay, I want to buy. I'm ready. I want to sell, right? So you're checking on the hot clients on every Tuesday. On Wednesday, you could have a builder. You could be calling on builders. You know that builders refer business out because they have to sell contingent properties. The majority of buyers who are buying new built properties in our price range right now are move-up buyers. You gotta, hang on, I'll call you. You gotta solidify that relationship with that inside sales rep there. What value are you gonna bring to them?
And typically they cannot represent
Correct.
anything other than what their product is.
Right. Go
So
ahead.
that's why there's an opportunity there.
So 2 things about the builders. One thing, everybody that works for the builders are already usually pretty solid. They're ready to go. They're not going to a builder if they are someone that has not been pre-qualified or think they're not going to be able to make it. Second thing, only 55% of all people that work with builders actually buy new build. Only 55%. They will actually go from somewhere else and go into local markets that you know really well. So, and when they hear about Melrose, those kinds of things, they start thinking, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
So once you start building out and finding things with builders, it gives you a broader range of people to work with who are high quality and high character and ready to go. Because they're looking for someone who's an expert. Because when they sat down with that builder, they had somebody on the other side of the table who wasn't as bright or smart as we are.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting there waiting for people to come to them.
Right.
That are like sitting and talking to them, but they're actually being coached. So they're coachable, they're ready to go.
I love it, and that builder rep, that sales rep there is not giving them a professional consultation of what's in their best interest. Okay?
Well, that's what I've heard of.
That's what you've heard, right? So Wednesday would be what are upcoming listings that are coming, and then you can set your KB Core for follow up here or Boomtown, whatever you're doing to follow up. The idea is if we play, we want to be organized to the point where we know we're going to play baseball on Monday, football on Tuesday, basketball on Wednesday, and we're not going, okay, I'm going to call expired, and then I'm going to call FSBA, and then I'm going to call my past lead, and then I'm going to call this. No, you come into work every day, Ford, this is the kind of truck you're going to make today, this is the color that it's going to be, and then we're going to ship it out. That's the way you got to think about your business. It puts you in that zone. After you make 50 expired calls in one day, after about the 10th, you're like ready to go. Like, I know what I'm going to say, I'm in that mindset, organized, let's do it. That's the goal of theme days. Thursday. You could reach out to buyers you're struggling with. You can do some open house pitches. I know a lot of people, I know it's not necessarily safe, but people are doing open houses out there. So you got, there may be an opportunity if you do it right and safe and scheduled, there may be an opportunity right now to pick up buyers because not everybody's doing it.
I just did when I was going, I scheduled showings, right? And I went through and I'm sitting there and they asked me, hey, are you a realtor? I'm like, yes. It's like, well, can we have one of your cards? I said, no, you need to, because I was at someone's open house, right? So obviously you sent into them, yet he got a, $800,000 buyer. The house was $800,000 price. So anywhere from probably $650 to $750 because usually people look at what they can afford, right? When they're at open houses, it's usually slipping just below that. But he got one for sure while I was there, and they were already pre-approved and everything they told us. So it's happening. So what you do, you have to do it safe. You have to have it set up correctly with the forms that are being signed. You have to set. You can't just let everyone in the house. You got to let people in groups. So just do it the right way.
And then we could do our letter of the week call list. The letter of the week is everybody in your database. If you called them, if you call each letter once a week, you'll get through your database 2 times a year. So that's a letter of the week. Hey, today I'm going to call A's. Next week on Thursday I'm going to call my B's, and the next week C's. So you'll get through your entire database.
And if you want to double that up, right, you just go A and Z, and you work that way, and you get 4 calls a month. Or
Right.
sorry, a year. Sorry.
Exactly. No, you're right. And then Friday, coming soon. What's coming soon for the weekend? We can take a look at our pipeline. We can call our business-to-business folks. And then, the other thing is your top 25, your referral partners, your building. You can theme it out so you have the script, you have your binder, everything ready to roll, so that every day is a different theme day for prospecting. And it's truly you'll become organized. Okay, Brent.
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, man. Well, we're just doing our sales business planning for 2021. We're talking about retirement. We're talking about new sources of business. And so, for those of you who don't, everybody knows Brent, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, Brent. You're looking good, buddy.
Yeah, really.
You're looking good.
Yes, I was gonna say something, but.
Oh, wow.
Once again, do it on the mic.
Looking good.
So we wanted to have you come in and talk a little bit about opportunity at EXP in 2021. Maybe share some of the things we talked about at the Tahoe Mastermind, and paint a vision for what the opportunities are for organizational building. It'll be one of our topics a little bit later this afternoon. I know you're on a tight time frame, so
Yeah.
so
I
without
got 4 or
further
5
ado,
hours.
come on.
I got it. Good to see you, man.
Great
How are
one.
you?
Great one.
Thank you. All right, how's everyone doing today?
Good.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Team EXP, and you couldn't have landed in a better place, the Sean Work Organization. I love Sean, I respect him. All of you do, you wouldn't have been here. And so that is awesome. You're in a special place. So what we did at Tahoe is I pulled together some key leaders. A lot of people, like 100 people in their group or more. We had people there with 400 or 500, some with 1,700. So some people flew in from San Diego. So we gathered at this multi-million-dollar cabin with this panoramic views. And we really talked about 2021 and what would make the biggest difference for this coming year. Like, what's the one thing that's going to change your life? That's a really great question to ask yourself. For me, it was losing weight. For you, a lot of you are already beautiful. You're healthy, and so maybe for you, it's selling 40 homes. It could be selling 30 homes and enrolling 20 people for EXP. It could be, I went to marriage counseling yesterday morning personally. I actually did. And maybe the biggest thing to change your life would be a better marriage, right? And so I'm working on my marriage. I'm working on my weight. I'm a flawed human being like everybody else. In fact, whoever's perfect here, let's just settle it. Raise your hand. We want to acknowledge you. You're a beauty. Your perfectness, and we will beat you up and make you like the rest of us flawed human beings who are just trying to, right? Isn't it true though? We're all just trying to get through life, isn't it? And we're doing our best, but we make mistakes. We don't say please and thank you enough. We're not grateful as we should be. And you can beat yourself up. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. I wish I did EXP sooner. I wish I never did EXP. I wish I became a listing. I wish. You know what? Here's where you are today. Draw a line in the sand, step over, and just become somebody new. Today's the first day of the rest of your life. But if you take yesterday's baggage into tomorrow, tomorrow's going to be just like all the past days of your life. And some of you aren't excited about that dude, that thought. You don't want to be tomorrow who you were yesterday. You want to be constantly improving, which is what Taro named his restaurant Kaizen. In Japanese, that means constantly improving. So he changed the name from Mikuni and came up with Kaizen at the Fountains by Mikuni, but that was kind of cool. So how about you? Do you feel like you're constantly improving? Are you migrating from a buyer's agent to a listing agent? It took me 10 years to become a listing agent. That was an overnight success, right? No. But what really got me there was frustration. So if you're here today and you're a little frustrated with your real estate business, welcome to Breakthrough. I went to Tony Robbins, and in fact, I'm going to invite you guys. Next Thursday, I usually do my team meeting every Thursday. Well, next Thursday's what? Thanksgiving. So I paid $18,000 to the Tony Robbins organization. I'm a big fan, and I'm having a special training next Wednesday. Cost me $18,000 on my American Express Platinum. Ask my wife. That's why we're in marriage counseling yesterday, and we'll be in marriage counseling next week. Our marriage is great. Don't freak out. But it's like anything. You have the top athletes have coaches, So we're just trying to make it even better, right? Does anyone want to be happy? Is it just me? Do you want to be happy at home, happy at work, to be happy? Well, sometimes you need a coach. I think every time. The superstars, they all have coaches. So get a coach for every area of your life, physically, spiritually, mentally, business. And so at 9:30 next Wednesday morning, the Tony Robbins organization, Team Tony, is doing a special mindset for 2021. Because the big thing for Tony Robbins will say this, he is the chokehold in your business is 80% of it is your personal psychology. So the whole theme of this $18,000 training that I paid for, I'm going to give to you guys. I'm going to scholarship all of you if you want to come. They are expecting me to have my executives there, my high-level salespeople there. So I invited my personal team. I will invite you guys if you want to come. It's a 90-minute training, but they're going to really talk about getting your mindset right, because you get what you expect. You drive the kind of car you expect to drive. You live in the home or the apartment you expect to live in. You're a renter or an owner because of things you expect. You have the kind of marriage or relationships in your life that you expect. And I think you get to the point where you got to learn in life that you got to expect more out of yourself. You're worthy of a better relationship than the one you currently have. And you got to step up to the plate and own your stuff. You can't point at the other person. You can't change the other person. But you could change the way you react. You could change the way you respond. Fake and phony people, they're like Teflon, but being honest and responding well and owning your stuff and saying I'm sorry and going, I could have done better. And you don't take full responsibility. You take responsibility for your part in the business transaction, your part in your personal relationships with your children. And so I want you to be there if you would like to come. It's 9:30 a.m. to 11. It's a 90-minute training. And it's right before Thanksgiving. I think it'll get your mindset. Plus, they're going to help you set very concrete set of goals with the action plan to achieve them. And then I have a surprise I'm going to give everybody at the end. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And they gave me what you're all going to get. And they're like, do not give this out prior to the training. We want people to sit there with notepads. We want them to pay attention, not flipping through what you're going to get. And you will be thrilled. I'm like, oh, this is good. Remember, I paid $18,000 for this. It's all going down next Wednesday, 9:30 to 11, next Wednesday, this Wednesday. We'll get Sean the Zoom link, Team Tony Robbins, and I'm going to scholarship you. Now, if you'd like to show up with a guest or two from RE/MAX or Keller Williams or Century 21 and provide value to them, because this is the kind of training we do at EXP. They will be blown away by this. So I'll let you bring a guest or two. I mean, if you snuck 7 guests in there, I'm not going to go, oh, wait a minute, Tess, you're with Tess. Tess has 7 guests here. We're not going to turn away. The cool thing about Zoom is it flexes, okay? So if you would like to do this, remember at Keller Williams 10 years ago, they did a business planning clinic, and they said you can bring a guest. And it was actually $50 for the clinic. I brought 32 guests, and I scholarshiped every one of them. I invested $1,600 and paid $1,600. It's not $50 to attend this. It's $18,000, and I already paid it. So you could scholarship them. Say, I will scholarship you. This costs $18,000. I will let you come and attend it. So it's just one thing. So you're going to get mindset for 2021. Because the way you think is affecting your performance at work and at home. And what you expect is what you get. And some of you expect so little and you get so little. And you expect this, you all kind of have the life you expect that you deserve. You're like, but how can I live that life? And this isn't a big deal, but my wife just said, thumbs up, you can get a NetJets membership this year, 2021. So I'm going to get a net. And that just means I have a private jet I could call and go, we're going to Carmel. Boom, done. We're going to Las Vegas. We're going to Scottsdale. We're going to San Diego, where I can go wherever I want. It will take me to Florida. And you just call them and you leave at 10 o'clock tonight. We could be at the airport in an hour and just leave in an hour. That's a NetJet membership. And you got 2 pilots and you got 8 seats and 4 couples and you're off. We moved to the Caribbean quietly. We live there now. We lived there. We did it. We didn't tell anybody. We just did it. And so we spend 40 days there, 40 days here. What COVID taught us is we can live on Zoom and three-way calls. So really, I could live in Switzerland. You can now, a dentist, I just had my teeth cleaned. He was in there. He had the bifocals. He's like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this. He has to do a little, I had a little dental work done. He goes, you got to come back next week. I do it now, but I'm in the middle of a surgery, and it's kind of gnarly. I felt the stress in him. He's running from room to room to room. He can't. You have the kind of business, once you get it up and running with the revenue share part, that you can live anywhere you want in the world. It's pretty cool. So I've chosen the Caribbean. But my point is to you, you are getting exactly what you're expecting. And I realize you may not be good at a listing agent yet. It took me 10 years to master that, to the point where 10 years ago I did switch over and I never worked with them as a buyer. I found buyers to be a blast. I prefer the getting excited, so I start to slobber. But I prefer the buyer side of the business. It's fun. We look at homes like, oh, I love it, I don't want to make an offer. And it was fun. I was with Barry Mathis, and I got to be the buyer. And we bought an office for $1.7 million, and I got an escrow on it last night. And I had one all lined up, and the rug got pulled out from underneath us because we didn't have anything in writing. We were there, and we were trying to get there, and before the midnight hour, we lost something we really wanted. So I found one 3 doors down, and instead of leasing the building for $20,000 a month, I bought it. So now we can do whatever we want. So we'll close escrow in the next 45 to 60 days. It was Barry's largest commission he'll ever earn, $1.7 million, so I'm excited for him. But it all started with me really being frustrated 24 years ago, like, how do I sell homes? I was not the rookie of the year. The first 6 months, I sold 3 or 4 homes. Was not the rookie of the year. The next year, I sold 18. The next year, 28. The next year, 48. So I did go, I figured it out. Write this down. I see you guys are taking notes. This is awesome. I am a student of life. So my wife and I have taken parenting classes. So you need a parent. The child's bad, you give them a spanking, you put them on a timeout. It's easy. Really? I used to think that till I had kids. I'm like, oh, wow. It's like some of them are really amazing. Some of them are, oh my gosh, where did you come from? Was there a mix-up? I mean, we've loved you like this one, but you're like the devil's child. Or, it's like, oh my God, And you leave these people, get control of your child, until you have a little one, a 2-year-old that's tired, exhausted, throwing a fit, and you learn to have empathy. You're like, oh. I remember Dr. Dennis Wheatley, one of my favorite motivational trainers. He's huge in the 70s, 80s. He trained Olympic athletes that won gold medals. He trained the astronauts. The United States of America called on him to train the astronauts. He was the guy, Zig Ziglar, Dr. Dennis Wheatley. And his son ended up getting into drugs and having a really hard time. And I remember being 19 years old and being very judgmental against him, like, oh, that guy's full of it, man. I mean, he can't even. And now I have 5 children. We adopted 2. Some friends of ours passed away, so we picked up 2 beautiful 13-year-olds that will now be 18. They've been with us for about 4 years now, ever since we got an EXP. And but your kids, it's like, eeny, meeny, miny. Oh no, it's like. We have loved you like these, and you're doing this crazy stuff. This doesn't make sense to me. And so now I have empathy for people with teenagers, and you go through these things in life. And so my point is to you, I struggled at real estate till I became a student of real estate. So write that down. Not only a student of life, you're working on your relationship skills, your parenting skills, if you have kids, your physical skills, I am a victim, don't have the victim mentality. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a victim of Zig Ziglar. Zig's always talking to having a positive mental attitude. I looked in the mirror at 220 and go, it's fine. You're just a big guy. I looked in the mirror at 250. I looked in the mirror at 280. I looked in the mirror at 300 and said, it's fine. You're just a big bear. People love you, And I wasn't like, I never saw a mirror I didn't like, right? Did I delete plenty of pictures that, oh no, do not put that on Facebook, and let's get the angle here, not here, and all that. Yeah, it was like that. But all in all, I'm like, oh, you're fine. Well, I'm kidding. I wasn't a victim of Zig Ziglar, but I definitely, some people look in the mirror and they hate themselves. I look in the mirror and go, you're just a big lover. You're like a Saint Bernard. Come here, let me give you a hug. That thing. And so, but I had to get to the point where I just didn't want to be that person anymore. And then it took me having a coach every single day that we just talked about it every morning. And it finally helped me do what I need to do. And a coach kind of got me out of that rut of where I didn't want to be. So same thing with you. You're either thriving at real estate, or you're doing okay at real estate, or you're failing at real estate. So what's it going to be? Do you expect more out of yourself? Can you do more? If you're into this, and Tom Daves is, it says if you believe the Bible, you were created in the image of God. It means you're a pretty cool person. God gave you skills and abilities and stuff. And I'm not going to preach to you, although I've always wanted to be a pastor. But I'll say this. You have amazing attributes. Nobody's got anything on you, not even Sean with his movie star good looks and his coolness, and all that. I always thought he just has the coolest vibe. He's like Bradley Cooper Jr. over here. Kind of looks like Bradley Cooper a little bit. And I'm a guy and I think he looks good, right? And so the point is this, you look in the mirror, he goes, that's creepy. I don't mean good that way, like, ooh, but here's the point. You can beat yourself up because of what you look like or don't look like, who you are or aren't, or you could just become a loving, grateful human being and be authentic. One of the things that served me well is coming from authenticity and being real with people. And I remember about 10 years ago, I got invited to a lunch at Paul Martin's over here. And it's this guy, Ty, invited me. What's Ty's last name? Ty Piedemont invited me. And it was Todd Duncan, the #1 mortgage trainer in the nation. And he said a lot during that lunch, and he gave out his Todd Duncan book on how to succeed at mortgage loans. And he was a coach, the #1 coach in America for mortgage people. There were like 40 people that were going to steak lunch, and Todd Duncan did his thing. I don't know why I'm in the room as a real estate guy, but I got in that room. But I remember the one thing he said, and if all you remember is one thing today, and then one thing next Wednesday from the Tony Robbins organization, and then one thing the following week, and one thing the following week, and then one thing, and then 52 weeks later, you're this person, you're not that person. And all of a sudden you're selling 48 homes a year. And all of a sudden you're doing agent attraction. But it's like beads. You just keep stringing the beads on. So today, and if you can get 2 or 3, you're even ahead of the game. But does this make sense to you guys? Yep. So the one thing Todd Duncan said was this. He goes, the loan officers are so guilty of, I need the 1031, which is what? A loan application, right? I need the loan application. I need pay stubs. I need W-2s. I need bank statements. What do you make? What do you make? What about your student loans? What about your BK? What about, and then do you have any other dependents? And they're just so busy gathering data they never really connect with their client. He said, if you guys could just slow down and take that 12-inch drop from your head to the heart and take the time to get to know your clients. Like just say, hey, let's take a break here. Tell me a little about you guys. What is it you're really trying to do here with this refinance or this cash out, put your kids? Tell me about your kids. Were they going to college? And then just ask questions and be genuinely interested in your clients and really kind of connect with them. He goes, you'll never lose another client again, because they had a hard time because people rate shop. Oh my gosh, well, US Bank's give me this, LendingTree.com's give me this, and so the lenders were fighting with online rate shoppers, and the lender was like, hey, I'll go, And so he was telling them to really slow down and connect with your clients. Some of you lose your buyers, and because you're not connecting with them. You're okay. What do you want? 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,000 square feet, pool. Check all the boxes. Okay, who are your clients? Did you ever really get to know them? And then the type A driver lenders are like, I don't got that kind of time. We got 30 loans in the pipeline, man. We got 40 loans in the pipeline. Blah blah blah. And you know what? He said it could take 5 minutes. I'm not talking about 5 hours or even an hour. Sometimes it's slowing down and taking 5, 7, 10 minutes with a client. And sometimes it's appropriate to spend 30 minutes or just say, wow, can I say a prayer for you? And then pray for them if you're a man or woman of faith. If you're not, don't do that. I'm not going to ask you anything you're not comfortable with. But to actually wow, you're going to pray for me? Yeah, I'm going to pray for you going through it. I have a friend right now, he has like 4 people that have died or are dying right now in the last 30 days. And his wife is getting a pacemaker in 2 weeks. Her heart's operating at 35%. A lot of you know Kevin Cooper, Kevin and Samantha. I mean, everybody's either dead or dying or got stage 4 cancer. It's the most unbelievable. It might be like 6 traumatic situations. And so I just want to encourage you to slow down, connect with the people in your business, become a student of real estate, and start learning. And I'm preaching to the choir. You're all here. You're taking notes. You're going here. So back to Tony Robbins. On those things, I've probably spent $80,000 with him in the past 3 years, and I love his stuff. It's great. It's not perfect. He's not God's gift to the world. He's a wonderful human being doing the best he can. I agree with 95% of the stuff he says, but up on the wall, a big banner, it says this. He said, frustration as a precursor to breakthrough. And so if you're sitting here today and you're frustrated, I want to welcome you to you're about to have your breakthrough, because that's how you go, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm going to buckle down, and I said I'm going to do these open houses, or I'm going to do this door knocking, or I'm going to call 10 people a day and ask for referrals. And in the next 10 days, you'll invest 100 people for referrals. And you will have listings and buyers. Or you could not do that. Well, why wouldn't you call 10 people a day and ask for referrals? You're afraid because you're focused on people being mean to you. What will they think? They'll think that's weird. How about this? How about thinking about your kids, if you have them, or your spouse, or your dreams, or your goals, your vision board? You know what? I'm going to do that for 10 days straight. I'm going to ask 100 people if they know anything about buying or buildings or leasing, or because you can refer the lease and get a 25% commission. Just the 25% commission on the building I bought, I think is like $15,000, just a little referral. And so, but are you asking? Here's why you're not asking and why you're not doing that, because you don't have clarity. You don't have a defined plan. So what Team Tony's going to help you with next Wednesday morning, we're going to spend 90 minutes, is working on your mindset, getting it right so you expect. And probably any athletes, anybody play sports here, right? You ever played sports? And probably the best, anyone ever shot a basketball at a hoop anywhere in your life? You throw it and you're like, this is not going to be good. You heave it up there. The best way I relate it to is golfing. And when you putt and you're like, there's no way this is going in the hole, right? I mean, and if you're really trying to be competitive about it, you're like, boom. I literally saw one of the professional PTA golfers, his putter was shaking. He was so nervous. His mindset was like, I'm going to miss, and he missed. And so what is your mindset? What do you mean mindset? Well, when you show property this weekend, are you going to miss? Are you going to make a sale? Do you expect them to look at homes and make an offer? I expect, when I was showing property, I fully expected people to go out and see property, get so excited that they wanted to make an offer, and I was going to put them in escrow. That's what I was doing. Now I meet other agents like, what are you doing? I'm going to show property this weekend, maybe trying to find a listing appointment to go on, but God, they'll probably end up buying new construction. I probably won't even get paid, or they'll probably switch to a Coldwell Banker agent. I probably won't. That's really poor mindset. We all agree? Yes. I 4-putted at Winchester from 5 feet one time. Is it even possible to 4-putt from 5 feet? I've done it.
At Winchester.
At Winchester, yeah. I'll never forget it. I was, but it's poor. My mindset was every time I hit it, I'm going to miss, and I did. Quit thinking you're going to go on a listing appointment and not get it. And you think, well, just because I say I'm going to get it. There's a saying in basketball. We'll switch to basketball. Nothing but net. Andre in the back there, humble guy, he's a championship bike guy, rides bikes. Andre, is there any mindset? You just get out there and just pedal around and win the race? Or is there an actual mindset to what you're doing? Now, it's bicycles. To me, I'm with you guys. You just pedal and whatever. But I'm smart enough to know there's definitely mindset if you're going to take first place. That kind of mindset I just said gets you middle of the pack or maybe last because you're not even good. What is the mindset? Because you've won first place. I've seen it.
When I roll up there, everyone's here to beat me. That's what
Everyone's here to beat you, and you're there to do what?
there to win.
You're there to win.
Everyone else is here to
So you're not just riding in the race. I'm here to win this race. Do you mentally prepare yourself? Do you see yourself riding the race?
Yeah, I mentally, when I do the warm-up laps, I check for potholes, wind, I check for all the things that are going to be, happening during that race. And then I just, like I said, when I roll up there, I know I'm getting on the podium, but I'm going to be the one everyone's here to race
Yep.
against. I'm the winner. So.
There you go. In basketball, they call it nothing but net. You just, nothing but net, baby. It's going in the hole. So how about you? Did you see yourself? Yes. When you show property, did you show the homes before you showed the homes? When I play golf, I play all 18 holes before I play the 18 holes if I'm playing competitively. I literally go through every hole. Okay, I'm going to hit it here. I'm going to hit it here. That's if you're really competitive and you want to do it. So how about you? When you show a listing appointment, do you just show up, you look at the home, you do, here's what I do for marketing, and hey, you want to sign, you leave? Or do you do it all in your mind before you get there? You walk up to the home with the confidence stride, you're on time, you're not 5 minutes early, you're not 5 minutes late, you're there at 10 a.m. on the button. They open the door, they're smiling, I'm smiling, they come in, they go, would you like a seat here? We'd love to hear what you think our home's worth. You go, I'd love to, but hey, I couldn't possibly tell you what it's worth till I actually see it. Can I see it first? Oh, sure, you put your stuff on the counter, you tour the backyard, the house, you're building rapport with them the whole time, and you do it in your mind before you ever do it. That's part of mindset of becoming a good listing agent. By the way, I got to get a new doggone. I lost so much weight on my wrists aren't that fat. I'm like, it's distracting to me. I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna go get the watch adjusted today. But the point, it feels clunky in my pocket. So the point is this. The point is this.
Let me see that.
You get what you expect. You really do. At home and at work. Life will gladly give you what you ask of it, but you ask so little. That's why the vision board thing. Design your life. What do you want it to be like? It doesn't have to be a 20,000 square foot mansion and a Maserati and a Rolex watch, but what is it? You know, I never had Netflix, but now I get to have Netflix. But I wanted my life to be travel, family, golf. It is my fetish. Golf. Some people it's fishing or hot yoga, whatever it is for you. No judgment, right? Don't judge me because I'm a nutty golfer. But here's the deal. And I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And so, and bring hope and encouragement. So hopefully this was encouraging to you today. I had about 30 minutes to run through here. I do have another meeting I'm going to step into a room and do down in San Diego. But come to the Tony Robbins team. Tony, I'll get you the Zoom link. It's Wednesday. Any final, I got time for a question. If anyone has a question or comment on something I said.
Yes,
Is that good? Because $18,000 training, it's all yours. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.
What Brent won't tell you is over at his office in at Regis, he's got a whole room up there. What do you call it? The war room? The planning room?
Oh, it's called the Vault.
The vault. So in the vault, he's got all his vision boards up and organizational goals, and it's pretty cool. If you get the chance, I'm sure he'll let you in on that one to go and take a look at it. Thanks, Brent.
Have fun today, guys.
So talking about vision board, this is. Do we have lunch coming?
Yeah, you said you had me change
Okay.
to 12:30.
Okay, cool. So we gotta have our. So this stuff that we're talking about today is the vision board for our business, right? I do encourage you guys to go in and get the vision board. Brent's done so well since being at EXP for 4 years. It's like night and day. It's crazy. For those, somebody was passing around the rep share of, what he was, what
He was
his
making
rep-
what he made as a Keller Williams Roseville team leader monthly now.
Yeah, this last one was around 600
Yeah, it's
grand.
587
587.
with some change.
Pretty,
A month.
Yeah,
A month.
pretty crazy.
So
But
it's not
when you
including
think about the opportunity for revenue share in California, there's 2.3 million real estate agents, and we've only got about less than 2,500 in California right now.
So can you put people from different states in here now, Mike?
Yeah.
In
Yes.
different countries.
And then
He's
now
so
we're
great to listen to, though.
Yeah,
Like, he
right?
just has
I
like
mean,
this
that's
like
the-
aura about him.
You have to smile when he's
Yeah.
talking. He's
I
funny.
know, right?
NetJets moved to Puerto Rico to avoid taxes, right? Puerto Rico has a 4% corporate tax. That's it.
Sounds terrible.
So now he's a citizen of Puerto Rico instead of being a citizen of America. Can't vote. Not that our vote matters in California,
I
and
know, right,
maybe
right.
nationally anyway.
Someday.
You are mic'd up. You
Someday,
are mic'd
maybe.
up in, on video.
Smiling.
And we're just gonna edit that part out. We'll leave that one alone.
Someday maybe, but when you think of when you think there's internationally millions and millions and millions of real estate agents that haven't had this opportunity yet, and you could be, or somebody in your team or in your organization can be the introductory person. And as we continue to build, man, that opportunity is there.
Another
I
thing
think
too
that's-
that we were talking about earlier is
escrow and title's coming, and so is
Yep.
mortgage. So it's all part of the same
You have an
deal too.
opportunity there.
So it's
Right.
not just the agents now.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting next year or so.
That's right. And for me, and just like Brent, it's about changing people's lives. We know we've been doing real estate for a long time and been in leadership. We know how many people out there suffer, who've been on the hamster wheel, who've been getting milked like a cow for so long, if you will. And now it's their opportunity to go out and build something awesome. And
Well, even for me and Tess,
change
we're
lives.
making more in a month now than we made in an entire year at the previous company that we brought 743 agents to. So pretty crazy.
So does that make you sick
Wow.
thinking about?
No, it's great.
No, I mean, this
We
is.
learned a lot. No, we learned a lot.
Perspective.
We wouldn't have been here. We learned so much. It's just it's a better opportunity.
I
And,
know, I'm like calculating that, I'm like,
yeah, but think about that. Like we get to be in business with the people we want to be. That's why we're all here, right? Like,
Yep.
you know.
Right,
Thank
Derek
you.
no longer has the
I love
obligation
helping you
to have
guys,
10 people
right?
a month.
That's
We just go after who we like now.
we're not doing this for ourselves and our health, right? We're doing this because we like helping you guys, right? We
Yeah.
want you guys to do the same thing. So.
That's it, man. And so there's not only the finances is great, but at the end of the day, man, when somebody calls and says, "Hey, dude, this is changing my life,"
Yeah.
that's the life energy that we love to exchange, right? So,
Well, that's
anyway,
what happened. I was putting, and you said, "Hey, let's change my life," and that's how we started talking. So.
and there was some whiskey.
Yeah, and then I 4-putted at Winchester. Just
There was
kidding.
some whiskey
Yeah.
involved there.
No.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was vodka. It was vodka.
Wine, yeah. It was white. It was a rosé.
It was a nice bubbly rosé. Huh?
Here for Margit.
Yeah, she should for Margit.
I think he's on gummies, maybe. I don't know. All right, let's keep going. So we're on this page, which is the illustration of what we just talked about before. It's called Theme Day Accountability Tracker, and basically it just says, "Hey man, what am I going to do on Monday? I'm calling my VIPs. I'm delivering cards and foods and gifts. And if you have 3,500 people, how many of you guys have over 1,000 people on Facebook that you know? Okay, you know how easy it is just every morning as part of a routine to go in there and say happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, or put some anniversaries, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. If you put your closings in there, or your real estate closings, most of you average between 30 to 60. Those will pop up and become an anniversary, memory in Facebook that you can then make the comment and tag them on. So utilize that database, that social media within.
Take it a step further on
birthday.
that too.
Okay, go ahead.
Don't just post a comment on their wall. Like how many people did for Tessa's birthday? She probably got 400 people probably said something on our wall. But who do you remember? Probably people that called you or private message you because you get a different notification,
Or
right?
pictures and videos.
Messenger, right? Or a picture of you. Like think like how you want to be treated, and that's how you treat everybody else, right? You might have 5 or 25 people's birthdays, but if you private message them and engage in a conversation, hey, where are you living and working these days? What's going on in your world? How's real estate? How's this? Whatever, depending on who it is, right? Just have a conversation with them. It's a little different than just saying, hey, happy birthday on their wall.
Take it deeper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go deep.
Okay, so Tuesday. Here's what we have on Tuesday. We have the current client calls, and so Chrissy kind of does this for me. We're going to get better at it in 2021. But she says, here's the activity that happened this week on your listing. Why do we want to do that? We avoid the call on Friday. What's going on with the listing? How many people looked at it? What are the showings? They already know that from earlier in the week. But the second part about it is if it's not selling, then weekly we can have the refresher with them. Like, hey, we've got a price reduction coming up. We've got what happens to a lot of agents is they'll have a listing and they won't, they're embarrassed because they're not getting any showings, it's not getting any calls, there's not much activity, and then all of a sudden you go 2 weeks without talking to the client. And you're like, oh shit, I feel bad, I haven't called and connected. Right, I haven't called and connected, oh shit. In fact, I'm dealing with one right now. We need to get a hold of the seller in Alamo. Okay? So, anyway, where was I? So, but what that's going to help you do, if you're making that connection each week, is have the validity to say, hey, marketing's great. We've had calls, but nobody wants to show. Here's the feedback. Here's what's happening with other houses in the area. Here's what we need to do next, right? We need a reduction. We need you to fix that leaky faucet. We need you to paint that room. We need to stage it. We need to take it off the market. The market's not being receptive to it, right? It gives us the availability through the connection and contact to take control. And then go deeper with the relationship because ultimately we want that referral. If you want more referrals, have this conversation with your clients. Derek, we're sitting down here today, you know, you're a buyer, let's just pretend we're sitting here today, we go through the consultation. Here's the deal. When we find the perfect house for you, after we go through escrow and all the other things that we've talked about today and characteristics, if we sit down and you give me a 10 on my survey, would you make a commitment, because I want to grow in 2021, to give me the names of 3 people that you know may buy or sell in 2021? That gives you 3 more leads right there. Okay, so you go to the closing, you're at the closing and you go, Derek, remember that conversation we had when we were first starting out, the 3 names? Yeah, I do. Okay,
Here's
here you
5,
go. Here's your
right?
here's your chance
But
to
you
build the
use
business.
some to close,
To
right?
build the business, right? And you could do that with buyers or sellers. So that's a tactic and technique for you for every closing that you have to get 3 more potential referrals to add to your database, to make that connecting call, to friend them on Facebook.
So
Anything
the
else?
biggest thing I took away, if you guys listening said, here's what's next. Think about like how many times we probably buy and sell real estate, right? But typically people are going through it used to be 5 to 7, now I think it's like 8 to 10 years people are buying a house, right? Things have changed. So the commitment you should be in your mind is I'm going to tell you what's next every time, because then you have a reason to follow up all the time, right? Here's what's next, here's what's next. They get afraid when they don't know what's next. They haven't gone through it, right? So it's here's what's next. That way you're not overwhelmed with everything else, and then here's what's next after this happens. It's just take them step by step. Here's what's next. Like that was the biggest thing. I think Cody Gibson was the one that I got that from, was here's what's next. Should be on every single phone call you end, here's what's next.
That's the magic move.
Yeah.
Even at your even at your listing appointments or your agent attraction appointments or your referral partner appointments, here's what's next. Like, when are we meeting next? Here's a goal for you, or here's what I expect you to do between now and the next time we meet. When can we meet next? Tuesday or Wednesday, right? That's the magic move. So Monday, top 25, top 50. Tuesday, status calls for your current clients. Wednesday, lead tracker. Thursday, you can go back and call your client database. You can, tells you some stuff there that you can do, send out letters, birthday programs, etc. And Friday could be your cold calling day and adding new business people and builders, okay? So this is just an example of you're building your calendars of what the average day should look like for a salesperson. There's also some scripts here. We're not going to go through the scripts because we don't have time today, but it will walk you through each day, top 25, current client, etc., how to build the scripts and what to do and what not to do. And then the next page, which is called topic, at the top it says what, when, and how to say it. It actually gives you what the conversation could look like on a theme day. So it says Monday, your top 50, turn the page. Tuesday, status updates. Wednesday, hot leads and old leads. And helping you create your elevator speech for those leads.
So just one thing with scripts, I know some people freak out when you say, "Oh, it's scripted." I'm going to sound scripted, right? But my whole thing is, okay, when you talk to your significant other, you probably talk different than to your guy friends or your gal friends, right? Or your daughter or your son, like those kind of things. You talk differently, right? And everything's, if you look at it that way, it's kind of scripted, right? In a sense. So the only reason why we're going to practice these, right? These are our roadmap, right? These are our directions. Yet you practice it this way, and then when you actually talk, you're going to talk more normal, right? You're going to have your little inflections, things are going to be a little different, but practice it like you're going to actually use it, right? But if you think about it, you are scripted when you talk to anybody. Yeah.
So along with scripts, that we're going to move forward to this page, which is called Expectation Referral Moments and Ask for CCR.
Number.
34.
I'm sorry, 34.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
34. So earlier we were saying your job is to prospect, right, and market. But also I said media, video, persuasion company. Persuasion has to do with the words that you use. If you haven't seen the Tom Hopkins, we had it at one of our team meetings, our Wednesday meeting. Go and watch Tom Hopkins' 10 Things Never to Say, and what words you should replace it with. So here are some words that trigger referral moments in a transaction. I'm not going to go through them all, but you guys can go through some of these, and then trigger events also, okay? There's some great information in here that we just don't have time to go through, but will help you create different verbs, different nouns and adjectives in how you speak to your client. And then we're going to move forward to page 48. So Brent mentioned it a little bit. I talked about it earlier, going deeper with Derek talked about it just a moment ago, going deeper with your database. And what would it look like if when you sat down with a referral partner, with a potential agent that you're attracting, or a buyer and seller, if you knew all about them? This gives you an opportunity to get into relationship quicker with them. If I know what they like to drink, where they like to eat, who their alma mater is, what they enjoy doing, I can gift around that, and I can invite them to events that center around what they, what they're interested in. So, this makes sure you've got what school what you have in common, what friends or people you have in common on Facebook. One of the things that we suggest when we're building rapport before you meet with those clients is that you go onto their Facebook page, look them up, what their who do we know collaboratively, go on their LinkedIn, check their webpage out, what accolades they've had done or they've earned over the years.
This would be a good form too to use for like if you're looking to get into business with somebody.
Yes.
Stalk them on Facebook, social media, right? Find out who their friends are, get these questions answered, and then you're going to figure out a commonality in there. Maybe it's golf. For me, it would be golf. If someone likes to play golf, I'm going to try and get them to go play golf, right? If they like the Kings, then let's go to a Kings game, right? Like whatever that is.
Right.
But this is a great list, and you can figure out a way where you can connect with them because there's probably something there.
Exactly. And what it was, man, I got so much going in my head. It's tough to get it out. But I'll have to come back to it. I don't know. So utilize this All About You form, both for current clients and past clients, and for your top 25. This is a mandatory.
Yeah.
You need to have one of these for every one of your top 25. Okay?
And then the goal should be in your database. How do I get my database to know all this about them, right? Because then your touches and your conversations are different. You remember, hey, they like basketball, they like the Kings. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the Kings when I talk to them on the phone, or whatever that is. You're going to utilize that when you're following up with them as well. Because and also they're going to know that you listen to them because you remember what they like.
Do you put this in your notes section, like in KV Core, or how do you have all this, and do you schedule the home anniversaries,
I'd suggest put it in your CRM.
Yeah, whatever
That
CRM
way
you're using, and then
that way it's there.
each CRM's a little different. There's typically some of them have like a feed, and you can lock things in there. Some of them don't have that. So for me, it's somewhere where I get to see it when I call every time. Because I'm making the phone call through it, I'm able to see it. I want to be able to see that piece. So it might be in because some of them have just like an actual notes section about the client. So you just click on the notes section every time you call somebody.
like you can pin it to the top?
Yeah, you find a way to keep it there so you're not just cycling through it. But in reality, the phone's ringing usually for at least a couple rings. You usually have time to grab it. And then for most of it, if you have that much information, you're going to remember something about the person. So.
Yeah.
Well, here's two things, right? How many of you guys have professional services, have hired professional services, meaning financial planner, CPA, insurance guy, attorney maybe? How many of you guys have hired those people? They ever given you a gift? Okay, I'm reminded of the Geico, 15% saves you, 5 minutes saves you 15%. Geico is a system. We are being hit up all the time for other system-related real estate companies. Zillow is moving into the marketplace. Redfin with discount brokerages. You implement something like this for your top 25, you'll never have to worry about them going somewhere else, number one. And number two, it's a marketing and prospecting effort that you're passively doing that also creates a relationship where they go, dude, Sean just sent me a bottle of whiskey for my birthday. Guess who he's talking about everybody to? Me. He's going to tell everybody about me, right? Anybody who they hear at church or a coworker or whatever. So this has to be mandatory for that top 25.
But yeah, like what I was saying though, at work, when we're back to work, right, and everyone work, send it to them at work because someone's gonna be like, who sent you that bottle? Or who sent you that? Who sent you the Kings tickets? They're gonna ask, oh, my realtor. Your realtor doesn't do that for you? Right? Like this, it's in your the people typically are working with a decent amount of folks in their same area, right? They're gonna see that.
And when you're, yes, and also, when you're trying to prospect these whales, send it all to their work address because you have more passive time at work than you do at home. You get home, what happens? You got kids, you got dinner, things are going, you're on the move, you're looking at the mail, boom, 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 in the garbage. What do you do when you're at work? Everything's a little bit more relaxed. You have some more time. So when you're marketing to somebody, even a listing, if you have if you know that John Smith, who owns 123 Granite Bay Street, works at BBVA over here, drop a packet or a letter by BBVA. Don't send it to their house. Drop the pre-lease packet off there. More usable time. Okay? Just some thoughts of implementation. All right, part of this also is to give you some tools, resources, and systems. What time we got? 12:15. Okay.
12:14.
Well, to be exact, yes.
All right, so this is a core listing, we're on page 49 now. This is a listing checklist for pre-listing. And it asks, obviously, this is like an intake form, okay? Most of you have, when you get the lead tracker, the next thing would be an intake form. This is it, okay? I'm taking the listing. Where did they come from? Were they a referral or location? And what you should do is circle referral here, because if they are a referral, you need to be sending that referring source a handwritten note saying, we really appreciate the referral. At any rate, it gives you a pre-listing checklist of things that you should be doing, net sheets and tax rolls and how to set up the file and everything like that. And again, we're not going to go through all these because there's 4 of them, I believe. But go to the bottom and you see where it says after the appointment, on our call after the first appointment. I always say this, I want to bring this up. Whoever you meet with, I like to use the word exchange of energy. You have to leave them happier than when you first met with them that day. And that should look like, Rich, man, this was a great meeting. I'm excited to get to know you more. I think we can do business together. When can we meet again? This is what I appreciate about you, Rich. We're going to talk a little bit later about this. There's a process to it. But after you leave the listing presentation, and that part of it needs to be the assumptive close, but when you leave the listing presentation or buyer consultation, it needs to be, Julie, I'm really looking forward to doing business with you. Thanks for spending a half an hour with me today. Here's what's next. You're exchanging that feel, and that's really what the honor call is, or I call it the driveway call. Next page, it's 50. This is actually the listing checklist. So for many of you who don't have these systems, use this. Don't recreate it. You can also pump this into KV Core if you need to. We use a tracking called Brivity. Many of you may have used Brivity before from, what's his name?
Ben Kinney.
Ben Kinney. So we have the listing checklist, and that has, again, this could be on the cover of your listing folder, but making sure everything's done, that the pictures are ordered, signs up, super key shackle codes, and all that kind of stuff. 51 is the marketing plan, and this has to do with how you're marketing the property. If you need a marketing plan outside of what you already know, go into Workplace and download mine and use it for yourself. And it says, here's what commission, here's what we do, here's how we market it, here's the exposure, just like this. Pre-open, photos complete, all that stuff. And so that's day 2, 52, and then 53 is for you and your escrow or TC, escrow officer, 53 and 54. So, now, we get to page 55. This is that form that I was sharing you with earlier. Who do you know that you can either do, depending upon your sales skills, right, Derek, when you want to pull this form out. Because if you haven't built the rapport and you don't know them well enough, you may not be at a point where you want to ask them who their coworkers and personal friends and family and business contacts are. But
I typically do it at the end just because after working with them, I may not want to talk to any of their friends, family, business contacts, or coworkers, to be honest, right? Like, because people are typically hang out with people they know, like, and trust, or are similar to, right? So if it was a nightmare, probably don't want to hang out with any other nightmares, in my opinion. But some people do it right off the bat, but again, everyone's different. So that's what I think about.
Okay, I like it.
That happens like 1% of the time, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yep. So these people all can now become part of your sphere. You can LinkedIn them. You can put them on Facebook. That's why it's so important that you're putting something in relation to real estate content out there on Facebook and LinkedIn every day, because you're funneling these people in. You're trying to get them habit met to met, right? So and then the next page is, who cares if you sell your home? So we're asking for who their CPA is and their tax attorney and their financial planner. And guess what? This makes your prospecting for referral partners a hell of a lot easier. Because now I can call Derek and say, Derek, Angie referred me over. She said, man, you're a great CPA. I was wondering if you could spend 15 minutes together to talk about our 2021 business plan. So right now, we talk about exposure. If you think about it, for every client, we can get 3 referrals from them. For every client, we can get 4 or 5 business partner referrals. Right? So that's 8 to 10 people that one client can expose you to. That's what I want you to think about. in
And
2021.
oftentimes it's going to be the same name here. You're going to see, you're starting to see people, and that's a sign. That's who you
Yep.
want to be in business with, right?
Yep. Okay, so then we're asking them who these folks are. We're sharing with them that 90% of buyers are looking at social networks, so we're asking them what platforms they're using.
MySpace is still in there. I like it.
Oh my gosh. Top 8.
And then page 82. So this would be your listing checklist for when you're actually going out on a listing presentation. What do you have with you? Have you dropped off a pre-list packet? Do you have a pre-list packet? By the way, for those of you who don't, you can get one from Michael Lewis Marketing Suite, number 1. You can get one from EXP Marketing Design. Or number 3, we have printed ones that you can just come and grab that are generic.
And then number 4, they're in your tribe group and workplace as well,
Yeah, they are. So you can go and download
which
those.
you guys are all, except for Mike,
Well,
in there so far.
do I have to use a listening presentation? Maybe I don't go enough.
Yeah, right. Maybe I don't go on
Hang
enough
on,
at
I'm gonna
once.
go grab them.
Yeah.
Just a bit. There, never mind. Here you go. Hold up, Brent. We'll bring them out after the break so you guys can see them. So anyway, your checklist for listing to make sure you have everything. We also have one of these in workplace that's more specific to
I think
our
just
location.
keep coming back to like, what you guys, it sounds like a lot of people need marketing or their checklists, things like that. It would be really smart to get involved with Michael Lewis Marketing Suite.
Yep.
They have great stuff and they'll do custom stuff for you as well for your marketing and just makes your life way easier. And they can even build you out templates that you can use for things. So their stuff looks great.
And then there's a secondary listing appointment checklist. So for your listing, we've just given you a system to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. Copy these, print these out, put them in your listing folders, and make sure you rock the customer experience in 2021. And utilize these, man. I mean, make them your own. Systematize them. We just took these and put them in Brivity so that they create a task list so that you log in every day, and based on the date when it's supposed to be done, boom, it pops up and you're rocking.
And then to Mike's point, he doesn't typically use one yet. I just find it good to have, right? Have it to leave with them for like your presentation. Like we typically don't go through it. It's more just asking the questions. But we've done it so many times that these forms are in our head, right? We just go
Yeah.
through it because we've done it so many times. So you're going to get to that stage. They're not going to mind if you're not at that stage yet. And you just ask them, is it all right if I take notes today? Always ask for permission, right? And then when you're taking notes, they know you're listening. They appreciate that, and you're reaffirming back when you say it back to what they're saying to you, right? To make sure you understand what they're saying.
Kind of like scripts too.
Yeah,
I
right.
kind of think they're silly, but I use them all the time. Whether you know it or not, they just get ingrained in me.
Yeah.
I just-
You've internalized them.
Yeah.
You've internalized them. So that's the next section starts the video section, but and we're gonna have lunch. I think those people are here. If you guys want to come up and during or after lunch and take a look at these, this is where I got the idea to do the binder. And so we're talking greatness tracker, which is who you're meeting with, leads to the lead tracker, which leads to the pay log, which leads to the which leads to the profit and loss for your business, which leads to your personal budget. Those are the 5 categories, and those are all in here. So when you go through here and you look, and maybe you guys want to create your own binder, something similar to this, but that's the process, so that you have everything in one foul swoop and you can carry it with you everywhere. Okay? Check that out, and then check out some of the other marketing stuff, and I think we're ready. Yeah.
For breaks.
And break.
And competence.